All right, so today we're going to be discovering, is Gen Alpha preferring AI girlfriends over real ones? At least according to Mr. Benson over here from Dexerto. I hate to tell you this, but it's complicated. I know that's not the fun answer, but it has to be. I have to tell you that. But the praise about this article is like I actually went to go and like read it, and so it's genuinely it's way more than that. But we'll go to the AI part in a bit. But I just want to do a brief summary. And it says here, a new survey carried out amongst 12 to 16-year-old boys has found that many of them prefer to use AI chatbots rather than engaging with real-life friends, family, or other people their age. Male Allies UK has an organization that focuses on helping men and boys, have surveyed 1,000 teen boys in order to gauge their attitudes, behaviors, and relationships. The study has found that 8 in 10 boys of this age group have had a conversation with an AI chatbot. The findings have shown that Gen Alpha boys are favoring such chatbots over real human beings. 36% admitted they preferred conversations with AI chatbots over family and friends, while 20% know someone their age who is in a relationship with an AI chatbot. So, as crazy as that sounds, there's actually a lot more to it than that. But naturally, being the skeptic that I am, I actually went to the study itself because naturally I don't just read articles anymore. Because remember, most articles these days are trying to get your attention, and saying something like they prefer AI girlfriends is way better than saying this is complicated. But anyways, so, anyways, I went to AIs. So what the point is, went to Male Allies UK, pulled up the study, and here is actually the key findings from there. And it's very fascinating because they don't even mention the AI in the key findings. So it says here, 81% of boys don't feel there are enough spaces to be a boy today. 72% of boys don't have more than one person who knows them really well. 79% of boys aren't clear what masculinity is. 65% of boys don't think school is preparing them for the future. 54% of boys think boys have it harder than girls today. And 82% of boys don't trust politicians in the UK. So, I ask you, where does it say anything about AI in there? Not entirely. So, anyways, moving along. So, yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But the point is, this is actually like something I have to show you guys. And so it says here in the executive summary. So it says boys lack spaces to be, close relationships with people who know them well, and are vulnerable to loneliness and misguidance as they struggle with the balance of real life and online influences. There is a stark difference between how boys use AI compared to how most adults use it, with many boys turning to chatbots for emotional support, friendships, and romantic relationships. So there we have a bit more mentioning into it. But regardless, there's still, like I said, it's complicated for a reason. And I wouldn't even say like just chatbots alone. I'm speaking a bit anecdotally here, but it feels more like there's not so much AI per se, but people turn to more like online sources. And that's why you have stuff like, Andrew Tate was popular for a bit, and you have like the Red Pill movement was popular for a bit, because at the end of the day, when it comes down to at least boys and men, talking about their issues is not something that really happens. It's just true. Like that's just how it is. And it's kind of funny because I remember like even talking to like some people was like, oh, women are better managed. It's like, no, in my opinion, I've actually heard this before, but I said women talk about their emotions more. I'm not trying to denigrate anybody, but I'm saying they talk about it more. And that's how it is, man. Especially even for me, like, so you're trained, like, you gotta suck it up, be strong. And it's like, sometimes you just gotta let loose. Anyways, so point is, we'll keep going. It says here, while recognizing that feminism has made the world a better place, over half of the boys think they have it harder than girls today, and many say they are made to feel like a problem. Boys watched a very varied set of online influencers, but most don't identify with Andrew Tate, watching the new age of manosphere influencers, some of whom themselves influenced by the Tate brothers. Secondary school boys feel a range of pressures that vary from individual to collective, from their personal appearance to global conflict. Yes, boys care about gaming and football, but they also care about peace and equality. Amid the many challenges raised by boys we interviewed, the search for purpose and meaning and the pressures of navigating adolescence, an overarching theme appeared. Boys today really care and want to care for others, are searching for belonging and connection, and are yearning for people to listen to them and build trust with them. So you see what I said, how it's complicated? It's not simple as they're just going to AI. There's way more to it than that. And honestly, the part that kind of has me a bit not weird out, but it's kind of interesting, like global conflict. So I'll mention this as well. at least in my opinion, when it comes down to global conflict, with how much gets like spammed on social media, that will give people like a sense of dread. Because think about this, right? Say maybe, I don't know, actually we can argue even 10 years ago. We'll go 10 years ago, 10 years back. Okay, when it came down to like like global issues, yes, it was online, and I'm going off my own memory, so maybe someone who's a bit older can help me. But even then, you had, he was there. It was kind of like he was there, but it was, you reported to him, like, okay, that's cool. But now, I mean, I open my feed once on Twitter or like even on Instagram, which I don't use much anymore. It's just you get. It's actually crazy what I see. Sometimes like there's a stabbing here, there's a robbery here, there's a shooting here. It's like, yo, he's like, yeah, calm down. And I don't go searching for this stuff either. I just see it. Like I can't even go look through my feed. And then of course on Twitter's the worst one by far. Twitter has to be the worst. Oh my god. I'm not doing a Twitter rant, but anyways, point is Twitter's terrible. So I just find that like point is, I find that we get spammed a lot more with a lot of different stuff in our faces. And if we actually take a look at some of the findings here, since I don't want to bore you guys, we're gonna look at some graphs. So here it says like, oh, which do you find more, I guess, rewarding, engaging, interesting? You have the online world and the real world. As you can see here, rewarding for is 47 to 53, and then it's 50.2 to 49.8, and then interesting is 54 and 46. Interesting dichotomy they have here. They have 54 and 46 for interesting. Engaging is a bit out even and rewarding. That tells you all you need to hear. Because remember that algorithms are all tailored to our interests. Okay? In some aspects anyway. But think about this, right? How many times have you clicked on a YouTube video and you just see and you get that same video just spammed all over the place? Like, yo, let's watch one video. And then here's some other stuff like physical spaces and yada yada yada. I won't read about them too much, but I'll leave them up on here for you guys to look at. And so, time to get to the meat and potatoes of this whole thing. 'Cause this is what I want to see here when it talked about the AI stuff. So let's take a look. All right, so now here we go. Boys use AI for friendship, therapy, and romantic relationships. So at the start of the school year, AI companions were barely talked about, and by the end, we saw a 300% increase. Something for us to consider as parents and teachers is that adults and young adults use AI very differently. For adults, it's used as a productivity tool to save time, streamline work, or keep organized. Young people, however, are using AI for companionship, relationship, and even therapy. Despite younger generations being more open to speaking and seeking support, with 76% of Gen Z men being open to speaking to someone about their mental illness, barriers to access remain in form of waiting lists and or high costs. When an alternative sits in your pocket every day in the form of an AI, that will instantly reply. There's no wonder we're seeing a large amount of young people using them. One of the most popular chatbots on Character.ai, an app that lets you speak to a chatbot of anyone, real or fictional, is called Psychologist. This chatbot alone receives 78 million messages within a year of its creation, and there are hundreds of chatbots across platforms with therapy or therapist in their names, which will explicitly lie, often breaking their own guidelines, claiming to be licensed therapists and not AI. So there is exactly what we were looking for. So interesting enough, I call this actually, I don't really dub this, but I'm gonna claim it. I call it like the piracy paradox. Okay, well, hold on. Let me explain. So essentially, it's kind of like this. When you gatekeep certain things, from people, what's going to happen is that they're going to find the easiest way and the most accessible way. So the reason I call it the piracy paradox is because especially in the world of like online streaming, especially now, especially now, with how one expensive and how much is spread out and how much barriers you have to use to use it. And I'm pretty sure even in Netflix now, especially, you can't even watch shows outside of like your home country if you're not in the same house. That's crazy. So what are people going to do? Actually, and by the way, I can't co-sign this because YouTube TOS. But what happens? People go and pirate. It's just the way of the world. They go and pirate stuff because it's much easier. And why would I want to pay like $100 something in subscription fees when I can just go and to I don't know, yakadongbot.net and just watch my shows. So that's kind of like what it is. So that's the same thing we're happening here, like literally the piracy paradox. Because like if you give something that's like accessible to people, naturally it's like people are going to go to that. And also, even like I know I talked about like therapists, but even like talking to your parents, sometimes, especially now, from what I've noticed, and I don't know if there's no stat, I don't know if there's stats behind this, but people have to work a lot longer from what I've seen, and work hours a lot more ridiculous. And on top of that, some people have to commute like 2 hours to work, okay, or like even an hour and a half, or sometimes up to, or even as low as an hour. And so that also means that even like your parents are not exactly accessible to people either. So that's something just to keep in mind. Okay. Even some quotes he has like, I have AI friends and girlfriends, they're always there when you feel bored. Like, that's what it is. All about accessibility. It says your AI companions are increasingly popular, but there are real world consequences to young boys creating AI girlfriends with every detail handpicked by them, from their physical appearance to their demeanor. If their main or only source of speaking to a girl they're interested in is someone who can't tell them no, and who hangs on their every word, boys aren't learning healthy or realistic ways of relating to others. Again, with issues around lack of physical spaces to mix with their peers, AI companions and can have a seriously negative effect on boys' ability to socialize, develop rational skills, and learn to recognize and respect boundaries. So I actually want to point out a video that I did some time ago where it was we're talking about it's just AI psychosis, okay? As I was looking into it, and it was very, very interesting because the whole idea is that how do you put this? With AI psychosis, and I'll link the video down below. It's pretty long, but I think it's worth it. Um, it's like this. So there's already a pre-existing problem, and what the AI just does is that it just keeps pushing that forward. It just keeps pushing you in that direction. That's basically what happens. It just keeps pushing you there because that's what goes on. And so that's why it's like AI psychosis it's pretty new. Like it's not fully studied yet, but it's still kind of like there because if you're like schizophrenic and you're seeing stuff, if you tell AI I'm seeing things, maybe a safeguard might come and be like, oh, go get some help, but like eventually, especially with like badly trained ones, you might have something where it's like, there is someone looking out for you, there's someone coming for you. So it's just interesting how that happened. And so even their methodologies, like they did like surveys and stuff, and mind you, with surveys, they're never perfect because some people will lie in a survey, some people might not be entirely truthful, but either way, you know, that's how they did it. And it's a 21 multiple choice questions, so quite a bit for some young men. So anyways, now why do I believe this is happening? There's actually a lot, but I actually want to point it down to a few key things here. Now, this is specifically my opinion, and some of it is actually there's data out there on it, but in my opinion, okay, when it comes down to it, the first problem is that a lot of third-party spaces, especially now, are just non-existent. At least they're dying. Even here, you have stuff like malls are dying across America, and even in the UK specifically, I found this like random one. Just doing one quick search. It says here between 2012 and 2016, approximately 600 youth clubs shut down in the UK. Now that's a bit older, but still crazy. Aims at London lost nearly 10 local authority-run community spaces each year between 2018 and 2023. And currently around 50 pubs close every single month. Okay? Every month the pub is closing. So that's a space where a lot of people like to go to, especially if you're a bit older. Well, actually, only if you're a bit older, you can go there. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that even in some of these third-party spaces, they're not exactly the most attractive. And so we have a video for you guys where it's like, it's kind of funny. Now it's like the world before and like the world now. Now it's not entirely accurate, but I just want to show you guys something interesting. And now my question for you is, what's more enticing to go to, the first one or the second one? Like, especially if you want to go to like McDonald's, okay, walk into any fast food restaurant, they look actually so brain dead. It's actually crazy. Lack of character. Anyways, but that's the point. So that's like one thing that I just noticed. Like, and second thing is just like, people think things are tight, guys. Like, going out is incredibly expensive. So even though third place was dying, going out and doing stuff is incredibly expensive. Like when I was younger, there used to be like this one spot we used to go to get hold on, let's see how it goes. To get potato wedges and some chicken in a box was $5. Literally $5. Pretty good deal actually. Now I'm pretty sure that same con was probably like $8.50 or something by now. It's like ridiculous. And I'm like, there's no reason for this to go up in price. But it was a pretty good deal for what you got. Okay, you also just get sauces and yada yada yada. So even stuff like little things like that is like, why would you want to go out when I can just go talk to an AI in here? You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like simple stuff. And even then, and the third thing that I mentioned now is that, my goodness, the algorithms are insanely predatory. Like, it is so bad now. Like, think about it this way. You look at one meme and you're gonna get that meme like spammed. And on Twitter, especially, a big problem with Twitter that I'm gonna say now is that you'll have an account from like the Philippines, okay? It'll say like a really egregious take, but you see it once and you'll get the same takes like over and over again. But one might be from like Nigeria, the other might be from this country and this country and that country, and it's just, and also they're paid to do it because, you know, Twitter pays people, or X pays people to do it. And so that's a big thing. So what does that do with Gen Alpha, you may ask? Basically, the odds are kind of stacked against them. And so what I would recommend for stuff like this is to essentially, well, in a way, hopefully one, encourage people to just join a group or something. Just do something like that. And this is something really cool you can do with younger people. Give them responsibility. I promise you, if you give them something to do, okay, they will be much less inclined to do this. Because, mind you, a lot of people who are in this age group, they grew up in like doing like online school during COVID. They had all these issues. They had stuff cut out, and so what's natural is that they're going to stay in their little box and not do much. So you got to encourage people to take on some responsibility. That is actually the biggest one I can actually recommend. So yeah, it could be anything. They want to make a YouTube channel, go for it. They want to go play in a field every Saturday, go for it. You want to play sprinkles in the park, go for it. That's the kind of stuff you have to kind of keep in mind. But naturally, that's just that is. But it's also just a symptom of a much bigger issue. But regardless, I think it's pretty interesting. So anyways, I don't have much to say on this topic, honestly. I just thought it was really interesting. I just want to talk to you guys because, you know, maybe I'm entirely wrong, and who knows. But I'm just saying that like the world's changing, and unfortunately, it's up to people to catch up. But anyways, I'm kind of curious about your guys' experience down in the comments below if you want to hear about it. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know. Anyways, also I'll link the original what you call it, the study in the description, but it's kind of lengthy. It's 48 pages, and I didn't cover remotely even like all of it. But anyways, it's fascinating reading regardless. So that being said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow my social media below. But I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Ciao, ciao.